Hey, what's up everybody? I am Jason and you're watching my channel, Micro Investor, the channel where I talk about stocks and stuff. But anyways, I want to talk about Apple in this video because a lot of people are wondering if it is a good time to buy into Apple. I'm definitely one of those investors that think when a stock like the size of Apple goes down at a very low price, I look at it as being at a discount. But I want to get into the little bit of the information with Apple to really help people understand why I would still invest into Apple and why I would actually be very bullish in Apple right now, because I think this is actually a great opportunity to buy in Apple. So let's get started. Regardless if people are not upgrading their iPhones as fast as, say, Apple or analysts might want, that does not mean that Apple is technically losing any customers. They're just not, technically selling new phones. Because here's the thing. Phones nowadays, for like an iPhone, are like $1,000 or more. People are not going to be quick to just go, oh, I spent $1,000 on this phone, but there is a new one out. I'm going to go spend another $1,000 on one. That is not a very smart way of thinking, so people are not going to do that. And plus, when you think about the fact that there hasn't really been a new iPhone, which much innovation since the iPhone 6. The iPhone 6 was a very innovative iPhone, but now if you look at the iPhone 6, the iPhone 7, the iPhone 8, the iPhone 10, the 10X Max or whatever, they're all the same phone. Doesn't matter if they're putting 2 cameras or 5 cameras in that phone. It's still going to take pictures, and it's still going to be running at 4G LTE. That's not going to make a difference. So, and if currently all phones are created equal in a way, of course they're going to have different chips, but they're all going to be 4G LTE. It doesn't matter if you're going with a Samsung or an iPhone. But where Apple is really have a good revenue stream going for them is their services. Services was at $41 billion in 2018. That is a pretty amazing number, actually. And if that's not crazy enough, they're trading at 22 times earnings. 22 times earnings. Apple, 22 times earnings. That's also extremely amazing. Let that set in for a second. 22 times earnings. So a lot of people can dislike Apple all they want, but in a way, they're very undervalued. And not just the fact that their services is a big booming business, but their wearables is a big booming business. Who would have thought that Apple would be like such a big company for headphones? They bought Beats a while back ago, but these Apple AirPods are like the best-selling headphones out. They're really expensive too. They're not even cheap, and they're selling better right now than iPods ever did at their peak. So I remember iPods, everybody had an iPod, but these AirPods are selling better than iPods did at their peak. That's also a really interesting fact to think about. And then if you're thinking, well, big whoop, who cares about headphones? Remember watches? Everybody used to wear watches, but now people wear watches again. People didn't need watches because everybody had a cell phone. And so that got rid of watches, but then Apple's like, oh, hey, no one wears watches anymore. Let's make watches. Now everybody wears watches again. That's also an extremely big part of their business, is the wearables. The watches it's huge. All right, and those are numbers that aren't technically really out. But Apple doesn't really release that much information on those things, but those things are selling like crazy. And you might be someone that just hates Apple because you like Android so much. But if you remember back in the day, it wasn't just Android and Apple. It was also BlackBerry, and there was also Microsoft. Microsoft was a big cell phone company as well, or as far as operating systems go. But now we're just at Apple and Android. So what if we were only at Android? Then pretty much everybody's going to be equal, until eventually somebody else is going to come along and create another operating system that is going to sell very well. So the ecosystem is basically just 2 operating systems for cell phones. And hell, I might have lost you with the whole smartphone ecosystem, but my point is, as far as hardware goes, the iOS is the only one that is specifically built for that hardware. When you think about an Android, I can go buy an Android phone for $50 at Metro PCS. But then I can also buy a $1,000 Android phone at Metro PCS. So they are very hard to compare the difference between a Android phone and a iPhone. Because they are technically different. One is built for the hardware and one is not. And that's the thing. But not just the services and not just the wearables, not just the proprietary stuff that the iPhone has. Apple is also a good investment because of its dividend. Apple's dividend has so much room to grow and grow over time, and I see Apple growing as a business over time, you know, with everything that they got going on, with services being a bigger thing. I just see Apple being bigger, and I see that dividend being more of a value. And at the same time, Apple has so much cash on hand that they can buy a really large company, right? Like, I'm talking about like maybe even something like Tesla. They can buy Tesla, no problem at all. And not even affect them, not have to take any debt. They can buy Tesla outright for its entire market cap that they have right now, and it not even affect them at all, with no debt. Apple has that much money on hand to buy another company. And I have a feeling that Apple is going to do that real soon. I'm not saying Tesla, but they're going to buy somebody here soon. Like they bought Beats a while back ago. They're going to be making another acquisition. I just know it here soon. With all that money, they're holding it for something. So I see them doing that. But anyways, everybody, I'm going to just leave this video right there. Please write a comment. I'm curious to know what everybody thinks about Apple. And as always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I have new videos coming out on my channel all the time. Thank you for watching.